Happy Thursday, everyone. Thanks for getting your assignments in and attending and working so hard. You have one long day and one short day, and awesome job. We're starting a new unit today, solving system of equations. But first, I want to say we acknowledge that Treaty 7 territory in which HTA stands is the ancestral land of the Blackfoot Nations, which includes the Siksika, Piikani, Kainai, Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda First Nations and the Métis Nations, Region 3, and is common home to everyone in virtue of God, our Creator's gracious gift. We just pray that everyone lives in harmony and peace throughout the world, no matter what their backgrounds, no matter their skin color, that we all know we're brothers and sisters in Christ and are called to make others happy and respect others as God's children. I challenged my wife last night, to make up a Christmas joke like we did. Told her she had 30 seconds, and she came up with this one in 15 seconds. I was pretty impressed. She said, "What does a snowman say when he is presenting to the class?" He snows and tells. No, he has a snow and tell. He has a snow and tell. That's the one. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, let's talk about solving systems of equations. Okay, in grade 10, we're going to have two lines. We're going to have two equations at the same time. They're called systems of equations. Grade 11 and 12, you might get three-dimensional and three equations in one question. What we're going to do is we're going to find the solution to the system that satisfies both equations. So one point that satisfies the first line and the same point that satisfies the second line, much like when we checked if a point was on the line, we showed that left-hand side equals right-hand side. And if you think about it, there's a point on this line and the same point on this line. That is the intersection point of the two lines. Okay, so that's going to be the solution when we talk graphically, without a calculator and with a calculator, and that's just today. Well, first we're going to do non-Xbox stuff. So if you read example 1, or just read the first 5 sentences, go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to get you to do example 1 on your own. And I'll give you a minute and 22 seconds. I'm going to get you to pause, please. Pause, pause, pause. Okay, so the solution, not sure where that came from. The solution is the intersection point. So where does these two lines intersect? Right here. 2 to the right and 1 down. 2 to the right and 1 down is that ordered pair. So if we were to substitute x equals 2 and y equals -1 on this line, the left-hand side would equal right-hand side, and on this line, the left-hand side would equal right-hand side. It's called the solution of a system of equations. So what we have to do, that those two lines are graphed for us already, we need to graph two lines and see where they intersect. That's what we're doing. So let's do this question, example 2, with y equals mx plus b, using the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so that means solve for y. We'll do the first one together and graph it. So to get y by itself, we subtract 2x. And we're left with y equals -2x plus 2. And we know that means the point 0.02, and we know that this is the rise over run. Remember, negative rise means down. run is 1 if we don't have a denominator. So first we plot 0, -2, and then we go down 2 and 1 to the right, down 2, 1 to the right, down 2, 1 to the right, down 2, 1 to the right. And it might say, what's 3 other points? It might say that's from the last unit. But now we're going to have 2 lines, so we don't have to worry about that. We're just going to see where they intersect. Okay, and it's important that you label these lines so you know which one is which. Okay, so please do that so you don't lose any silly marks. This is the hard part, not labeling lines. Okay, I'm going to get you to do the next part. Okay, so solve for y here. I'll give you however much time you need, so just pause please, and when you're ready you can play. Okay, for this one I have a negative y, so I'm going to bring it to the other side. Why is it doing that? I don't know. So I'm going to bring the negative y over there and the 15 has to go over there. So I'm going to add 3y and subtract 15. Subtract 15. So I get x subtract 15 equals 3y. Divide both sides by 3. You get 1/3, sorry I'm running out of room here. 1/3 x subtract 5 equals y. So now we have to graph it. I don't know if I got you to do that. I just said solve for y, so I'll get another minute to graph it. Graph the y-intercept first, and then the rise over run is 1/3. That's the rise, and 3 is the run. That's the point 0, -5, so I'm going to go 5 down. From there, I'm going to go 1 up, 3 to the right. 1 up, 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1 up, 1, 2, 3 to the right. That's nice that it's on that exact same point. And it's going to be best you have a ruler to do these things. It says state the solution. Well, the solution is 3 to the right, 1, 2, 3, and 4 down. And this is what you can do. You can circle it and write down 3, -4 is the solution. That's a good thing to write down every time. Now the question here is what's the ordered pair? 3, -4. And it says see if that point is on each line. That's what verify means. Okay, verify means test point 3, -4 in both equations. So here's the first one, 2x plus y equals 2. So I see that x is 3 and y is -4. So 2 times 3 plus -4 equals 2. 6 subtract 4 equals 2. 2 equals 2. The left-hand side equals the right-hand side. So it's on that line for sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're right. You still need to give me the second equation, which is x subtract 3y equals 15. And x is 3, and y is -4. So 3 times negative, subtract 3 times -4. And it works out brilliantly. 3 plus 12 equals 15. So that's what you have to do in C. You have to do it twice. You have to see if your answer works in both equations. If it does, you know it's right for sure, and you can say, yo, J-O, don't even correct this one. I just checked it out, and it works perfect. So there. Okay, good job. Let's now work on XY intercepts. And again, I'll do the first one. You do the second one. If you need to write any of this down, please pause. There we go. Number 2. Okay, we're going to do this with XY intercepts. So go ahead and write that down using XY intercepts. So I'm going to find the X and Y intercept of X subtract Y equals 7. Sometimes I'll tell you what to do. So it might say solve graph using the intercepts, or it might say graph using the Y equals mx plus b, slope-intercept form. If it doesn't, you have your choice, whichever one you like better. Okay, for the x-intercept for this one, we know that y equals 0. So x subtract 0 equals 7, which just means x equals 7, which is the point 7, 0. Y-intercept, x equals 0. So 0 subtract y. Remember what I said, how to solve negative negative y equals 7. You have to divide or multiply by negative 1. Okay, you can't just get rid of this negative sign by the y. Okay, so now I can plot this line, 7 to the right and 0, and 7 down. And now plot it the best you can with the ruler, much preferred, and label x subtract y equals 7. Okay, your turn. We've done many xy intercepts. See if you can do this one, please. And then graph it on the graph. And then see if you can see what solution it is on the graph. So please pause until you're ready to rock. Okay, x-intercept for the black. I'm going to do the x-intercept here and y-intercept on the other side. So y equals 0. So x plus 5 times 0, which just cancels, equals negative 5. That means x equals negative 5. Why do I always get the easy one? Okay, your turn to do the y-intercept. Or x equals 0. Go ahead and find that. Give you a minute to do that. Actually, I'll give you whatever you need to graph that line and then see where they intersect. Okay, pause. Or no, you already did that. Sorry. I'm repeating myself. So x equals 0, so I'm left with 5y equals negative 5. Not as tricky as the last one. Y equals negative 1, so 0, negative 1. So negative 5, 0. And the 0, negative 1 is a tricky one. But if you go 5, 1 down, 5 to the right, 1 down, 5 to the right, it seems like we're right on here, on the red line. So we can graph it. It's going to be a hard one for me. Okay, not bad. Label it. And then you circle where they intersect and say, in this case, 5, negative 2 is the solution. I'm going to abbreviate solution to SOL apostrophe N. Okay, now it says verify the solution. So the solution we just wrote down is 5, negative 2. So for verify, you have to see if this point is on both lines. And you'll see both lines in the question. He labeled both lines. So go ahead and do that. And when you're done, go ahead and unpause it. All right, now pause it, do it, and then look at the answer. Okay, you can see 5, -2 does work on both lines. So you substitute in x and y, and then you calculate each side. You do not bring anything over to any other side. You calculate each side. You see what the left-hand side equals, and you see what the right-hand side equals. If they're equal, then the point is on the line. Good job, good job, good job. Good job. Pause if you need more time to write that down. Okay, you go right ahead. This is on the top of page 2. This is the handout, Solving Systems handouts. That's right after your practice test from linear relations. So the last page of the last unit, and then the next page is the first page of this unit, which we just finished. I'm going to change this up, and we're going to do B together, because it's a little harder solution, and you're going to do A, okay? So we have to know how to graph y equals mx plus b, where the number at the end is the y-intercept, and the number in front of x is the slope, which means rise over run. Here, y equals -x, you don't have a number at the end, but you kind of do. You just put +0. So 0, 0 is the y-intercept and the x-intercept for the first line. Now, what number is in front of x? It's -1. Negative x means -1x, and -1 means -1 over 1. So negative is your rise, and 1 is your run. So 1 down, 1 to the right, 1 down, 1 to the right, 1 down, 1 to the right. And then draw this line, and you might have to extend it. You might not. Depends on where the other line is. So y equals -x. Next. I'm going to plot 1, 2, 3. There's the y-intercept, and from there I go down 1 for -1, and 3 to the right. Down 1, 1, 2, 3 to the right. Down 1, 1, 2, 3 to the right. 1, 1, 2, 3 to the right. So 3 to the left as well. Up 1. You can see that this is going to be something like that. Sorry, that was a kind of a crooked one. Y equals -1/3. If it's a negative slope, you should see it as a negative slope line falling down. So it is the red one. And now I'm going to cheat a little bit because I know that the the intersection point is -4.5 and 4.5 up. So it's right here. So solution is -4.5 and 4.5. That's more of a graphing calculator question. I wouldn't ask you that. Well, I could, but I would have to give you really close lines so you know exactly where they are, and then it have to be very obvious that it's a half unit up or half unit to the right. It's in between. That would be a half unit up would be like that. Okay, that's why I want to do that one, not you. But you go ahead and do A. Graph those two lines and see where they intersect, and see if you can figure out the solution. Now, they didn't ask me to verify this or check to see if left-hand side equals right-hand side, but I did already. This is your x and this is your y, so -4.5 equals 4.5, yep. And then -1/3 times x, this one, is actually dividing by -3, so that's 1.5 plus 3 equals 4.5. So I just did that in my head, and you can do that as well with this one. When you get your answer, see if it works out. If your answer is 5 and 4, well, 4 doesn't equal negative 5 plus 9. Yes, it does. And if this is 5 and this is 4, you get 15 subtract 7 is 8. Aha, 8 doesn't equal 4. So you know you just made a mistake on the graphing ruler. You might have took your best guess, but it didn't quite work out. So, but you know you're close, so you should be able to figure out what it is. But again, on the test, I'll have graph paper and rulers for you. Okay, so go ahead and pause this, and when you're done graphing both lines and tell me where they intersect, you can unpause it. Good luck. Okay, super, super. Let's see how you did. Purple, up top, first line. You would go to -7, the y-intercept, and then the rise over run is 3 over 1. So 3 up, 1 to the right. 3 up, 1 to the right. 3 up, 1 to the right. And you keep getting dots and draw the purple people eater. And then you go to the second line, the blue line, and you go to 9 as the y-intercept, so 9 up. And then -1 over 1 is 1 down, 1 to the right, 1 down, 1 to the right. So it's completely diagonal across those units. And luckily, you can see that the 0.45 is on the line. And now we check it. It doesn't say to check it, so we can just do this in our head. X is 4. Let me just go ahead and write down the rise over run if you haven't yet. You can pause. Okay, at this point, I am checking, not chicken, don't call me chicken. I am checking to see if 4 and 5 work. And this is 12 subtract 7 equals 5, yep. And this is -4 plus 9 equals 5. Okay, so it works. Don't have to be told to check it. If you can just do it quickly in your head, you'll feel a lot better about what you did. All right, homework. I'll give you 5 minutes to do the only homework question using slope y-intercept form. Okay, so solve for y, plot the y-intercept, and then go through the slope. And when you're done that, graph it and see where they intersect. And if they intersect at 2, 3, then see if 2, 3 satisfies both equations and see if the left-hand side equals right-hand side on both equations. When you're done, unpause. You can do it. Use the force. Okay, here's the homework question number 1 on the bottom of page 2. You had A, C, and D. And you're solving for y. Okay, so that's what slope y-intercept form means. Solve for y. Write that down if you need to. When you solve for y here, they moved the 2y over, so they added 2y to both sides and subtracted 3. Which is x subtract 3. Now you divide by 2. And you can see this is 1 over 2, 1/2 x, subtract 3 halves. And this one, they just subtracted x on both sides. And you get y equals -x. So y-intercept right here. Y-intercept is a big fat 0 here. Slope is -1 over 1 for the second one. And the slope for the first one is rise of 1, run of 2. So make sure you know how to do this one. Remember what I said earlier last unit, is that when you're graphing, you're going to need to know that -3 halves is equal to -1.5. How many 2's are in 3? 1. How many left over? 1. Keep the same denominator. -1.5, you need to know how to graph that on a graph. And then go up 1 and over 2. 1 and over 2. I think they're using this with all those dots, but we're not going, I didn't ask you to do this, so ignore all the black dots and concentrate on the red dots, please. That is x subtract 2y equals 3. Now we need x plus y equals 0. And it says the y-intercept is 0, and then I gotta go 1 down, 1 to the right. So you can concentrate on these black dots, they're just fine. You can see very clearly what the solution is. 1, -1 is the solution. Verify it. I'm going to just pause it until you get to that part, and then B is verify that solution. Does the left-hand side equal the right-hand side? And here you have 3 equals 3, left-hand side equals right-hand side, and you have here you have -1 plus -1, so 0 equals 0. Left-hand side equals right-hand side. Okay, super duper. Let's see if we can get a World of Mr. J.O. story right before Xbox. Okay, this is the category of gotcha. And when we had Christmas breaks and Easter breaks, my wife and I had different holidays because I was a Catholic school and she was a public school, and we always, I can't remember who got off. I think they got off a week earlier, and then we got the week after off. So we got to travel, not together. And one of these, I think it was Easter, I had a trip to Colorado, and the Flames were playing the Avs, and went to the University of Colorado. I'm not sure if I skied or hiked, but and then I went through. I hit another city after that, and then as I was just finalizing plans, but Cindy said, "I'm going to go to LA and visit Pardeep." And Pardeep was a girl we met when we were building houses in Guatemala through Habitat for Humanity. So I said, "Oh, that's a good idea." And as soon as I knew that, I knew I was going to email Pardeep and tell her that I wanted to surprise Cindy in LA when she thought I was in Colorado. So we arranged that, and Pardeep was meeting Cindy for the first time, and she said she'd meet her at the Hard Rock Cafe. So I made my way there, and I told Pardeep, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. Just you guys go out for supper." Or sorry, I guess you flew in, and then they were going to the Hard Rock later. And so I went to Hard Rock Cafe. I dyed my hair blue, sprayed it blue, only because I was watching a Dodger game, and I was going to the Angels game after that, baseball, the next day. So I still had blue hair from the Dodger game, and I said, I went to the Hard Rock Cafe. I said, "Hey, this and my wife thinks I'm in another state. I want to surprise her. Do you think that I could be her waiter?" And they just loved the idea. They said, "Sure." And so I said, "Okay, well, there she is. Whenever she came, there she is. I will, I'll go to this." And so I walked up and I said, "Bonjour, my name is Pierre. I'll be your waiter today." And she didn't even look up. Just the water, please. She didn't even look up, and Pardeep ordered a drink. I didn't even know what to do, so I had to go get drinks, and came back the second time. And I said, "Okay, are you ready to order?" And then she kind of glanced up, and by this time I was pretty much trying not to laugh out loud. And there you go. That was a surprise. I love to surprise everybody I know, especially my family and my wife. Oh, another great surprise. I'll tell you, maybe tell about the biggest surprise I had for Cindy. Okay, there we go. I missed the part about that I was wearing shades as well, but that's okay. Let's do some Xbox stuff. Okay, Xbox, here we go, all you gamers. Top of page 3, and I want you to write down on the top of page 3, graphing calculator. That's what we're doing now. And that means solve for y, because you have a big fat y equals button on your calculator, and that's what we're going to enter. So, solve for y. I don't even think I need, it says together. I'm going to do 1. I'm going to solve for y. I'm going to do these one again. So 3x, get out of here, book. Get y by itself. I subtract 3x. Get y equals negative 3x plus 11. All right, your turn to do this one. And I'll give you 1 minute to solve for y. Get y by itself. Before you get y by itself, you gotta get 3y by itself. You gotta get rid of 2x. To get rid of 2x, you subtract 2x on both sides. Not divide by 2. As previously stated, subtract 2x, subtract 2x, and you get 3y equals negative 2x plus 12, and then divide by 3, you get y equals negative 2/3 x, and 12 divided by 3 is plus 4. Okay, so you're going to now go to your graphing calculator, and that's my symbol for calculator. So you're going to press your y equals, and then y1, you're going to put in negative 3x plus 11. Don't forget your X button is right beside the green alpha button. I'll show you in a second. And then you're going to go to y2 and enter negative 2x divided by 3. That's negative 2/3 x. And then plus 4. And then you have to graph. Sometimes when you're just starting out, you forget to hit graph. And you got to hit graph. So let's do that now then. Let's do this now, and then we will tell you how to solve it using the calculator. Okay, so there's my calc. Press y equals, clear anything that's in it. And I don't have my work shown, so I'm going to have to do it in my head. Negative 3x plus 11 is the first one. Good. And this is negative 2x, so negative 2/3 x plus 4. Okay, so that's how you enter it. Go ahead and press your y equals button, and then your x button is right here beside the green button. And after you do that, you press graph, not equals, graph. Okay, hopefully you don't have a graph like that. If you have a weird looking graph like I do, press the zoom top middle button and then the number 6. Zoom 6. And now let's write down what you do after that. So the next thing we do when we have the 2 lines on the graph is we go second calc, just like we did for XY intercepts. Go ahead and do that, second calc. And what do you think you press next? That is right, intersect. You want to see where those two lines intersect. And then you have to press bop bop boo, or enter 3 times. So to show you the calculator, I go second, calculate, which is your trace button, calculate, and I see intersect number 5, or I can scroll down. I'm just going to put 5. And then you just press enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And it gives you 3, 2 as the solution. 3, 2. I'll do it again. Graph, you go second, calculate, intersect, which is 5, and then just enter 3 times. Enter, enter, enter. So 3, 2 is what we get. And the window, we don't have to worry about doing windows unless we don't use -10 to 10. That's the window. That's the standard window. When you use the standard window, Zoom 6, you don't have to write down the window. Okay, so 3, 2. Let's just see if it works. Does 3 times 3 plus 2 equal 11? Yep. Does 6 plus 6 equal 12? Yep. Just by taking those 10 seconds, I feel really good about my answer. Okay, most of them are going to be like that. You have to solve for y twice, and then graph, second, calculate, intersect, bop, bop, boo, and you get a solution. Something like this question, it's already done for you. You don't have to solve for y. Y is already solved for. So go ahead and put this in your calculator and see what you get. And then check it to see if it works. Now, if I say solve and check, you have to formally show me like the left-hand side equals right-hand side. And this one doesn't say check, but I still want you to check it. Get used to seeing if your answer is correct or if you made a sign mistake. You just got to fix something up. Give you another minute to do that on your calculator. I lied, 3 minutes to do that on your calculator. Go ahead and pause it and unpause when you're done. Okay, here we go. Middle of page 3. Press y equals. If there's anything in there, clear it off. And the first one says 3x subtract 7, so 3x subtract 7. And then y2, arrow down, negative x. Oop, yeah, I'm looking at the right one. Negative x. Now for this one, you can't put subtract x. You can't do that. It will not work. Okay, you have to put negative x plus 9. Now you press graph. You're happy that you see your intersection point, so you don't have to change the window. So you go second, calculate, intersect, bop, bop, boo. What's the answer? What'd you get? What'd you get? Something positive and something positive, that's for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. Okay, so now I want you to do the next 2, and we'll correct to see how you're doing. And then do one more, and then there'll be some homework for tonight. Last homework. I will not give you any homework for the holidays. So do B. I guess I'll show you what I'm talking about. Go ahead and do this one and this one right now. That one, you just have to punch in your calculator. This one, you have to solve for y and then punch it into your calculator. So go ahead and pause until you're done, and then I'll get the answers going when you're ready. Please remind you that if you have any questions on any of this, just email me, chat me, say you want to ask me a question, and say, okay, D on page 3, I got y equals negative x plus 1, but you got y equals x subtract 1. Why is, and the reason why is because you lost this negative sign here, and you can't lose that negative sign. But anything that you don't know why it is, please ask me instead of just leaving it, because if you just leave it, it's going to pop itself back up on the test. All right, good luck. We'll pause now. Okay, my friends, let's do B. Y equals negative x, so let's go to y equals and clear everything out of here. Negative x, do not put subtract x. Negative sign is right by the enter. Negative x, done. And y2 is negative 1/3 x. So negative 1/3 x is negative 1. You can put it if you want to. I won't, except for this time. So negative 1x divided by 3. That's negative 1/3 x. Okay, x goes in the numerator because x is the number x over 1 plus 3. Okay, I'll let you look at that for a second. Then you're going to press graph, calculate, intersect, enter, enter, enter. Now it's getting easier, and you're happy because you'd much rather do this than go on graph paper. So graph, happy because they intersect on the screen. So second, calculate, intersect, bop, bop, boo. You get negative 4.5, 4.5. Negative 4.5 and 4.5. We have that one already. And now for D, we're going to have to do some solving for Hawaiian, said the Hawaiian. So let's go. First one, 3x plus 2y equals 5. I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides. I do it a little quicker because we have a lot of experience at this now. Get 2y equals negative 3x plus 5er. Divide by 2. And y equals negative 3 halves x plus 5 over 2. That's y1. y2. I'm going to move my negative y over there and the 1 over there. So I'm going to add y to both sides and subtract 1. If you want to, you can subtract x and divide by negative 1. You'll get the same answer, which is y equals x subtract 1. All right. Now, if you didn't get that, maybe I'll give you 30 seconds to punch that in your calculator before I do, because that's the exciting part. Let's see if you can get the solution where these two lines intersect. Okay, where are we? We got negative 3 halves x plus 5 halves. Negative 3 halves x. There you go. Plus 5 halves. 5 over 2. Next one is x subtract 1. X subtract 1. Now you press graph, calculate intersect, ba-ba-boo. Graph, yes. Second, calculate, intersect, enter, enter, enter. 1.4, 0.4. Really? 1.4, 0.4. Well, let me see if I can do that in my head. I got 4.2 plus decimal 8 is 5, yup. And 1.4 subtract decimal for equals 1. It works out. Oh, sorry, I was looking at these equations here. It works. So, of course, you need to answer the question. I guess we did it on a calculator. This was negative 4.5, 4.5. And this one is 1.4, comma 0.4, and decimals are fine. Okay, you can have decimals. Just because you had a 3, 2, and a 4, 5 doesn't mean the next one's not going to be a decimal or a negative decimal. One more on your own. Solve for y. Calculator, you know what to do. Solve means get y by itself. Or sorry, solve usually means get y by itself, but here we have x's and y's. So this means find the intersection point of the two lines. So go ahead and do that. And I'll get you to pause right now and unpause when you're ready. Last question of the day as far as me talking. Okay, let's do this one. You can go get a Slurpee. So to solve for x, subtract x on both sides. Number one, you get y equals negative x plus 18. When I see 18, I might have to change my windows. Number two, divide by negative 1 when you have a negative y. That means all the signs change on the left-hand side. So negative 2x plus 3 becomes 2x subtract 3. Now, we punch in negative x plus 18. Negative x plus 18. And 2x subtract 3. 2x subtract 3. Graph. Okay, here's something to note. Now, if your intersection point is just off the screen, usually your calculator will give it to you. Sometimes it doesn't, just depends how far off the screen it is. So we're going to try this one and see if it works. Second, calculate, intersect, enter, enter, enter. 711? Well, that is awesome. I wonder what brilliant man created this question. Well, he should get some 25 cents from each Slurpee sold. That's what he should get. Okay, good job. Now you're loving Graphing Calculator. We've only done a page, but you've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, and are feeling pretty good about it. So do your homework on page 4. I want you to go to page 4 right now. Let's talk about what number 5 and 6 are asking. So you have this for homework. This one's already done for you. You just have to punch it in your calculator. This one you have to solve for y. There is no y. Which one's y? Is it A or B? Well, it's alphabetical order. Y is the B, so you're solving for B here. Exact values, we'll talk about that tomorrow. So just do this like we have done all day. Let's talk about 5 and 6. Number 5 just means solve. Okay? Instead of saying solve the system of equations, you can say the ordered pair which satisfies the system of equations is. Just means solve, just do exactly what we've been doing. Now number 6 is more important. This one says the value of x. So if my answer was 711, what would the value of x be? It would be 7. Okay, so you find the intersection point, but they just want you to put the x coordinate into the box here. Okay, so we'll work on that. Hopefully you have time and don't have much homework. God bless. Have an awesome day. Ha ha ha.